chairperson of this committee, of this Public Accounts Committee. I'm just going to give our members opportunity to introduce themselves, and then I'll give the department the opportunity to introduce themselves, and then we will take it from there. Good morning and welcome. Good afternoon. Welcome to everybody. Members, over to you.
Good afternoon, Chair and members and officials on the platform. I'm Leon van Wyk, a member of this committee.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Peter Johnson, member of this committee.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Benedicta van Minnen, a member of this committee.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Pat Lecker. I'm a member of this committee.
Good afternoon, Chair and colleagues. I'm Basil Peter.
The other members? Members, if you introduce yourself in the meeting previous to this, you must introduce yourself again for record purposes.
Good afternoon, Chairperson. Gillian Bosman.
Good afternoon, Wendy Kaiser-Philander.
Good afternoon, I'm Dan Basils.
Chair, I think Member Mbombo might have some problems in from an audio point of view.
Okay, I think is that all the members? Okay. Can I give over to the department to introduce themselves? Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Jacques Coulont and I'm from Social Development.
Good afternoon, Chairperson and members. My name is Gavin Miller. I'm the Director for Research Information Management in Department of Social Development.
Good afternoon, Chair and members. I'm Simon Miftaghdien, Chief Director, Business Planning and Strategy at the Department of Social Development.
Good afternoon, Mireille Wenger, Provincial Minister of Health and Wellness.
Good afternoon, Keith Kluti, Head of Department. Thank you.
Don't know.
Good afternoon, Leslie Shand, Acting Chief Director for Strategy, Health Department.
Good afternoon, members. Nonhlanhla Andangosi, Head of Corporate Services and CFO, Health and Wellness.
Good afternoon, Glenn Carrick, Chief Director of Finance, Department of Health.
Thank you very much. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Raphael Friedman, Technical Advisor to Minister Wenger.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much for all the introductions. We have a matter in front of us that concerns the Department of Health, and we just, as a committee, and some of the members were not present in that meeting now. There was a link sent out for 12:30, and we just had deliberations on one of the matters in front of the committee. And let me just say we have with us, apologies for that, our procedural officer, Ms. Jones, and senior procedural officer, Mr. Daza. Are you there?
Yes, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Welcome, Minister Wenger, and welcome, Minister Coulont, and HODs and so on. We just have a matter that we've discussed just before the meeting, just that we wanted some clarity on. And that matter is going to be a matter that's going to be in camera. The committee has decided that that matter is just going to be in camera. It's a briefing by the Auditor General. Is the Auditor General present?
Good afternoon. Yes, Chairperson, we are.
Thank you very much. Ms. Kloos is present. It was a matter that was brought to the committee, and we just had deliberations on it. So that we're just going to receive a briefing by the Auditor General in camera, and then we will continue with the meeting. So, members, how do you feel? I see Minister Jaco is here, and then we have the Minister of Health and Wellness here. I'm just thinking now to how to utilize the time optimally. Maybe we can park the one matter and just get the two matters out of the way. I don't want to now, close the meeting for in camera, and then we have our two ministers need to come back. I just feel maybe we can just deal with maybe first our health and then social development. Then that's done, and then we can go into our camera. How does the committee feel about that? Will that work? Members, that's my proposal, that we don't waste time, that we just do this two presentations quickly and then go in camera. And then, Ms. Kloo, we've decided that your briefing is going to be in camera, so because we don't know what to expect in that briefing. So you're going to brief us. How's your time, Ms. Kloo?
Chairperson, that's fine. We can change the agenda around. I've got no problem with that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. So I'm going to speak about, we're first going to do the Department of Health with the 12 strategic risk, and then we're going to do DST, and then we will then take questions after health and questions after DST. Committee, I think that is, do you have agreement? Is that fine with you guys? With you members? Before you say guys. I don't see thumbs up. Is it thumbs up? I don't see any hands, any thumbs up. I don't know.
That's fine, Chair.
Say again.
We can do it that way. We can do it that way.
Thank you. Thank you. Minister Wenger, welcome with your HOD and the department. I think it's maybe important that we just get a brief introduction from you and maybe the HOD, and then we can jump right ahead, go ahead with the presentation, and then we will then take some questions. Over to you. Welcome, Minister Wenger.
Thank you very much, Chair, and good afternoon to the members of the Public Accounts Committee. We have been asked to provide an overview of the Western Cape Department of Health and Wellness's risk management process for the 24-25 financial year. Let me just say very briefly in opening that, especially in our environment, risk is inevitable. And so our approach is to establish mechanisms to manage risks as they emerge, rather than simply just having a list of risks. Our approach is also to continuously learn and adapt, as I'm sure will become quite evident as we go through the presentation. And with that, I will hand over to Head of Department, Dr. Keith Cloete.
Thank you very much, Minister. Thank you very much, Chairperson. I'm going to be doing the presentation myself. I've got my colleagues in the room. When we come to the questions, I might defer to many of the questions. Chairperson, can you see my presentation? Is it in presentation mode?
Yes, Dr. Cloete, we can see it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So let me start by saying we're going to give you a very brief overview of the legislative responsibilities for risk management, what our risk management approach is, what our 2025 strategic direction is, and then an overview of the 2025-2020
Social Development. Dr. Klukler, Minister.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chairperson and Committee, for asking us to present on this important matter, and thank you for the engagement this afternoon. Chair, may we be excused hereafter?
No problem, Minister. You go. And like I said, it was a very, very comprehensive and excellent presentation, and I think that's why, you know, so it's a lot to absorb. But thank you for the good work, and thank you. Please send our, you know, our well wishes to your department. Thank you, Minister, and HOD officials. You are excused.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Minister Jaco Lont, apologies that we're only with you now. We'll try to manage it better, but thank you for being here. We're going to go straight ahead with you and the presentation. So welcome, Minister, and good to see you again. And we're ready for you for your opening remarks.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Chairperson. And we understand that you're also juggling quite a few balls, and you are a few members to manage many committees. In order to continue saving time, I'm happy to hand over, unless the HOD want to say something, to Gavin Miller, who will be taking you through a presentation. And I've gone through it. I think it would be in a similar vein that you are quite happy with what we are presenting to you. Thank you so much. I don't know if HOD wants to go, otherwise straight over to Gavin.
Thank you very much, Minister. I don't think our HOD is on the call today. Good afternoon again, Chairperson, members and other colleagues. Once again, my name is Gavin Miller. I'm the Director for Research and Information Management. I'm just going to flight my presentation, which I have prepared. So I'm just struggling a little bit here with the mouse. I'll be with you, have it flighted now. Okay, it should be visible now.
You can go ahead. We can see it. Thank you.
Okay, great. So I'll be talking about the DSD electronic content management system. And I want to talk first about, you know, what is an ECM system? Why is it that we want to have an ECM system in the department? And so this is the question that specifically we were asked to speak to. I want to say up front that I do not necessarily agree with the statement as it is, and hopefully by the end of my presentation you will understand why. But getting back to what is an ECM system, why would a department like ours be interested in something like this? Well, firstly, it provides a more efficient and productive working environment. You can do fast searches. There's a lot of information in our ECM. So using keywords and tags, etc., we can do searches just like you would on Google. You search within the ECM system and you can find information. It allows people to work as teams, so you can collaboratively share and work on the same document. So I can be sitting in different towns, I can be sitting in different offices, some can be at home, some can be at work, but we can collaboratively work on the same document. And just now when I talk about workflows, etc., you can automate tasks to make it easier to move files through the digital steps automatically to save time. There are also safety and rules aspects that are important. ECM provides strong security. It restricts file access. So particularly when we talk about papaya and other things where we have a lot of personal and sensitive information, an ECM system allows us to ensure that there are permissions and access rules in place. So it provides easier compliance to the many rules, regulations, and acts that we have to comply with. Also, it's a cost and space saver. We have less paper, which means less spending on printing, ink, shipping, and physical storage. Physical storage has become a huge problem. We all know that the archive in Ruland Street has reached its capacity. Going forward, if we have more filing done electronically, we'll have to be able to spend a lot less on physical space. It also helps us to have things stored in a central place, but accessible by all. We're a department with over 65 sites, so we can have one central electronic storage space, but all the sites can access that information simultaneously. So it certainly helps from that perspective as well. Okay, why specifically did we as DSD choose and are using ECM? Well, firstly, from a records management perspective, we look at what the requirements are for records management, then ECM helps us improve compliance with the various acts and regulations as far as document storage and automated records management to allow for secure and timely destruction of unnecessary files. Very often we have so many files that keeping track of everything physically becomes a huge challenge. So with an electronic system, we have easier compliance with a lot less effort, which then brings us to the next point, which is enhanced efficiency. There's a lot less physical clutter, so it improves the access to information. And as I mentioned earlier, you can use, just like you would Google, you can search within our ECM folders to find information, and definitely reduces the risk of misplaced files. Physically, files can be misplaced. Electronically, if you have the right words, if you have the file was put in the correct location, you'll find it a lot quicker and easier. The cost effectiveness also improves because you have less physical management tasks that need to be put in place, less issues with the physical transfer of files from one place to another, checking in and checking out of files, and definitely reduces, as I said earlier, the physical space requirements and reduces paper and printing costs. The improved compliance is very important. We need to comply with the various acts and regulations, most particularly the Western Cape Archives and Record Services Act, which determines the way we manage our files. And also with an ECM system, we can track where our documents are. And it also provides us an audit trail, so we can identify who has accessed the file, when they accessed that file, and together with that also keep track of different versions of particular files. Robust protection is very important. Again, as I said earlier, because of POPIA and our access to sensitive information, and being a department like social development where we have a lot of sensitive beneficiary information. So it's important that we have a system that provides us a way of ensuring that we provide proper access control and permissions. Also, with ECM, we have an offsite cloud storage and backup of all the information. So the information does remain available even if we do have issues at particular offices. Scalability and flexibility is another reason why it's important for us. We can adapt quickly to changing environments and circumstances. A very good example of this is when COVID hit, and for a couple of weeks we had to shut down our offices. We were still able to access all our files that were in the ECM system. And we could locate them from anywhere that we were at that point. One of the advantages of ECM is it doesn't matter where in the world I sit, I'm able to, with my sign-in credentials, log into the system and access and work on files. From an environmental perspective, ECM helps us reduce the carbon footprint. It minimizes paper consumption. It cuts energy usage associated with physical storage and transportation, and it decreases the waste production. Lastly, very importantly, in 2009, the Western Cape Cabinet approved the use of ECM, which we now call My Content, as the only approved ECM to be used in the Western Cape. So that is very important, and that is why we have adopted ECM. But long before that, if I just give you some brief background, it was already in 1998 that we started looking at the use of what was then known as electronic document management system, as it later evolved to LiveLink. Then SASA was still part of the Department of Social Development, and we had a huge problem in that many of our beneficiary files were being misplaced, lost, or had to be transferred from one office to another as the beneficiary moved. Also, the applications, it would take weeks for an application to be processed. we introduced LiveLink, and through LiveLink, we were able to reduce the lost files. We're able to have a file captured in one office, but another office able to view that file. So we didn't have to keep transferring files between offices. And we were able to reduce the application time required for a grant. From many weeks, we were able to first bring it down to 29 days as our initial objective, and then slowly we were able to reduce it further from then. In 2006, when SASSA separated from us, we kept some of the licenses and continued using ECM within the Department of Social Development, and currently we use it as the official space, the only recognized official space for the storage of official records within our department. And the Directorate Research and Information Management is currently responsible for the continued rollout and utilization of my content in the Department of Social Development. Just to give you some examples, and I'm not going to give you all, I could give you many, and we could be talking for a long time, but I just want to highlight some of the more important examples from various business units within the department of how we are using ECM. From a records management perspective, we have uploaded our DSD file plan, which is now in ECM. Unfortunately, until quite recently, from an audit to general perspective, hard copy documents was what was required as a record. A lot of this changed in 2020 with COVID and other changes that have happened, Electronic Transmissions Act, etc., which has now made a lot more electronic filing acceptable. So we are now accelerating the use of ECM for our electronic files, which are now considered to be proper records. There are still some exclusions to that, so not all our files can yet be filed electronically. And we have what we call our physical objects project. I'll talk about that more a little later, but that is something also that we are using from a records management perspective to ensure that we better comply with the various rules and regulations around records management. The same with our ECM transformation project. I'll talk a little bit more detail about that later as well. But it's how we're ensuring that from a records management perspective, we're getting more and more of the department's business units to use ECM as part of their work. And then file retention management is very important. We have a lot of backlog when it comes to the destruction of unnecessary files, and that is also because of the laborious manual task. If all your files are dealt with manually through ECM, we have been able to find a way of doing this a lot more efficiently. I'll also touch on some of that later. We're also able to integrate our electronic contents management with some of our systems. Now, two I want to highlight is our NPO management system. It's a system that we have developed for the management of our NPOs and the transfer payments. More than R1 billion every year is transferred to NPOs to deliver important services in our province. And it's very important for us to manage that process effectively. And there are many records associated with that process as well. So ECM is the official repository for all the records in the department. But our MPO management system is what we use for the process. So we integrated the two so that within the MPO management system, you're then able to upload documents to ECM and also to download and view documents within the NPO management system. We haven't quite optimized it fully yet. It's a project that we are currently working with CI in the Department of the Premier to optimize that better. At the moment, we're using links within our NPO management system. So it's not a full integration yet, but we're hoping that by the end of this financial year, we will have full integration of the ECM into our NPO management system. One of the newest systems that our department is very proud of, and our minister speaks very highly of, is our SWIMS project, the Social Work Information Management System. And our plan there is to finally also integrate our beneficiary files. So the SWIM system is used to capture information from our beneficiaries and to workflow a lot of that information. And obviously, again, a lot of records are being produced. So currently they are in our SWIM system. Because at a national level, they still want to see physical beneficiary files. They are printed and stored, but once we've managed to move beyond the need for a physical file, then the SWIM system will also then use ECM. There will be that same integration process that we use for MPOMs will be used for SWIM, so that we can maintain all our electronic records for our beneficiaries within ECM. We have what we call a DSD online library. We have electronic books, we have reports, we have articles, we have legislation, we have regulations, research reports, etc., all relevant for the work that is done by our various teams. And where previously we had a physical library, which was only accessible to those that had access physically to the library, which is mainly only our head office staff. Now, because we have the online library, we can make all our content available across all 65 plus sites across the province. Also, usually with a library, if you have one book in the library, one person takes it out, everybody else has to wait for the book to be returned. Now with an electronic library, you can have multiple people accessing the same document at the same time, reducing the waiting period that you need to find it. Also, if you go to a library, sometimes it's difficult identifying and finding the exact document that you're looking for. But again, as I mentioned earlier, with the search function that we have available within ECM, you can search the online library using keywords and phrases, etc., to look for content that is applicable to what you need. ECM also helps us to collaborate better. We can create workspaces. So at an individual level, I don't store all my documents on my hard drive of my computer. I have a private workspace that only I can see within the ECM system, where I store all my documents. And it doesn't matter which device I use to access my ECM space. I can see all the documents. So I can be working on any computer that allows me to log into the system to access my documents. So if my hard drive were to crash or my computer is stolen, it breaks down, I can still access all my documents using any other device that's able to connect to the network. So from a security perspective, from a backup perspective, it is very, very useful. And then the same applies to teams, with the addition that teams can work together on a document, can share documents. You can edit a document together. So you can be sitting in two different sites, miles, kilometers apart, but be editing the same document at the same time, and store it in a collective space where everybody in the team has access to the document. And again, because there's access control and permissions, you can determine who may access it, what view rights they have. Sometimes you can limit to someone only view, no editing, no deleting of that file. And there are audit trails available, so you can see exactly who in the team has accessed the document when, and what. And through version control, you can see if they made any changes to the document. We're also able to set up communities of practice. I'll talk a little bit more in the next point about the communities of practice, but that also helps with the collaboration. And then we can set up very specific project spaces where, for a particular project, you can ensure that all the documents and all the necessary information pertaining to that project is in a central space where everybody has access, everybody can monitor, everybody can contribute. So you're able then better to monitor and manage a particular project. With what we call communities of practice, an example in our department would be our probation officers, for example. And we created a community of practice for them. So only with access rights only for the probation officers. They're able to then share files, share templates. There are many forms that are applicable to the type of work they do. The latest versions of those templates can be made available there. They can collaborate in that space as well by sharing best practices, sharing examples, asking each other questions, to better deliver service. And then, as I said, it provides the shared storage space where any documents, acts, changes, training manuals, etc., applicable, diversion manuals, because our probation officer are responsible for our diversion programs, all that information can be stored in a shared space, so it's quickly accessible and available to the staff. For file sharing, ECM is also very useful. For large file transfer, if I need to send something that's bigger than 30 megabytes, and believe me, I often have to do that. As a demographer, I work with large data files. I can't email it because our system only allows a 30 megabyte max. But I can store the document in ECM, and then I can email the link to that space to somebody else that I want to receive that file. They are able then to open the email, click on the link, and it takes them to where that large file is. So it certainly helps a lot with large file transfers, also bulk file transfers. If I have a lot of files that I need to transfer from one person to another, again, I can either send lots of emails, or I can clutter the mail system, sending all the files, or again, I can create a space in ECM where I store all the files and then make that space available to whoever needs to receive them, give them the link, and they're able to access that space. An example of how we use that in our department is with the Auditor General visiting our department annually. We have to provide a lot of records, a lot of files, a lot of them electronic. So what we do is in our ECM, we create a space for the Auditor General by year. And then as we get all the RFIs, we'll create a folder within that space and upload all the records and the documents that have been requested, the electronic ones for that particular RFI. We provide electronic access to that space, to the Auditor General, so they are able then to access those documents. Again, through audit trails, etc., one can make sure and see who has access to it, who has accessed those files, who has made any changes, etc. So it is very useful from that perspective. We are also able then to maintain our practice notes and share them. And lastly, what we also use the ECM for file sharing is for mass communications. Often we have to make people aware of new circulars, new instructions, new treasury instructions, etc. And we can send one email to all 2,400 plus staff members with all the attachments, but that is likely to clog the mail system, slowing down everybody's emails, eating up bandwidth. An alternative is to still send out the email, but instead of all the attachments, is just put a link. Create a space in ECM where we put all the attachments and all the instructions, etc. And through the link, then staff can visit those documents in ECM. So it also then creates a record. So if a few months down the road, I remember, there was a finance instruction that came out, and now I must try and look through my mails to find where that mail is. I can't find it. It takes me too long. My mailbox is cluttered, or I've maybe deleted that mailbox or that mail because my mailbox was too full. Now I can go to ECM and I can go and search for it in ECM, and then I can find that instruction. So file sharing helps us then reduce the amount of information that we're clogging our mail system with, but it also eases and assists file recovery and searching for information. Lastly, what ECM also allows us to do is create workflows. This is those automated tasks that I referenced. So if an example of one is we have a what we call the live track workflow within ECM. So if I want to put in a leave application, I will sign my leave application and I will put it into the live track system. It then gets workflowed to my supervisor. My supervisor will open it up, check everything's okay, and then either approve or decline my leave. If it's declined, it gets sent back to me. If it's approved, it then gets sent on to the appropriate senior manager that will provide the approval. Again, all done electronically. So we can create those sorts of workflows. We also, as part of our MPO management system, now currently we're busy with a call for proposals. Some of those proposals are captured online on the system, but we have many NPOs that are not quite there yet, do not have access to all the electronic resources available, so still prefer to hand in or to email a physical document to us. We need to make sure that information gets captured and the important documents, because those physical documents are now not yet in the MPO management system because they're electronic. So with our quick capture process, we are then able to create a workflow so that those documents can be appropriately named, because we have a naming convention that we prefer using, that they can be categorized and then placed in the correct place within our ECM in line with our file plan. Within registry also, we have created some workflows because again, it works much quicker. If we have a large number of electronic documents that come into registry and they need to then be put in the appropriate file, we've created workflows so that they can place those documents at the right place a lot quicker. And the last example of a workflow is we have one for our social workers. All social workers must be registered to practice social work, and this has to happen annually. And you may only practice social work if your registration is up to date. It's a personal process. The department doesn't do it on your behalf. You need to do it personally. So you need to pay your subscription, get your certificate, and then using the workflow, you will then upload your certificate so that the department has proof that you are a registered social worker. So the certificate together with the other appropriate information is captured through the workflow into a central register, so we have a place where we can confirm all the registration details of all our social workers. I'm getting close to the end of my presentation now, but just to go into a little bit more detail on two of the projects that we are currently busy with. We are busy with quite a few projects, but I just want to highlight two. The one, as I mentioned earlier, is what we call the ECM transformation project. And this is to help embed ECM deeper within the department, to get more staff using the ECM efficiently and appropriately for their daily filing. So we have advocacy and training processes that we implement. We work with the various business units within the department. And so far, we've worked very successfully with our Chief Directorate Financial Management, one of the 6 chief directors within the department, and helped them to revise all of their current folders. We've looked at the metadata. The metadata is very important for all files. We've made sure that they are doing it correctly and help them update it where necessary, because if your metadata is good, then your search and your retrieval of documents is better. And also it helps you with your retention, because you can associate retention periods with a file in your metadata. We also looked at all their permissions to make sure that the permissions and the allocation rights are adequate and correct and are being correctly updated. We also looked at the retention periods for each of their records to ensure that the appropriate disposal is associated with each of their records in line with our approved file plan. So far, we've worked through our Chief Directorate Financial Management and we've renewed them. And now we're starting to move on to the other parts of the department, the Chief Directorate Business Planning and Strategy. And we have the Chief Director in the house today. And I'm also part of that Chief Directorate, where we're looking at how we update our workspace within ECM. At the same time, also, we're working with the Ministries Registry to assist them. And within the Office of the HOD, we have the Subdirectorate Special Investigations. We're further assisting them to update their space in and work better with ECM. And also looking at how we can ensure that we have uniformity within the department by working with the other registries in the department. We have 6 regions, so we have a big regional registry within each of those regions. And then we have 45 plus service delivery officers with smaller registries. So, and then we have facilities and a facility management hub, also all with registries. So we're ensuring that we have a uniform folder structure that all of these different units work with ECM. So that is our ECM transformation project. Second one I want to highlight is what we call the physical objects project. Now, we have thousands of files. It would not be economically viable for us to backscan all of that into ECM. It would cost too much in terms of time and effort and money for the staff, to us to employ staff to do all of that. So we had a cutoff point and we said, fine, from this point, we're going to ensure that we do as much as we can electronically, except for those documents that we have to do physically still. But behind that date, what we are doing is we are dealing with that file as what we call a physical object. And that means that we create a record of that file on ECM, and we associate all the metadata that would be part of that physical file with that entity we have now created on ECM. So if we did a search on ECM, it would then tell us if what we're looking for is in that physical file, that it is in the physical file. It will also locate that physical file and tell us where in the department it is, which registry it's in, and in that registry, which bookshelf or file shelf it is, and on what shelf it is, exact location. Be able to identify exactly where that file is. We also barcode that. So as the file moves, the system can be updated, so we know and can keep track of exactly where that file is. So far, we've been able to capture more than 15,000 files at our head office, and we've completed the pilot phase of the barcoding, and now the next phase is now to ensure that we barcode all of those files and put them in the appropriate place, because part of this process has helped us identify files that were not in the right place, files that needed to have their covers replaced, etc. During phase 3, we will then roll that out to the department's regions so that they can then also do that with all their physical files that will not be part of the ECM, but using ECM to ensure that we achieve similar objectives in terms of retention, because we can associate our retention periods with as part of the metadata of that physical file. This is just to give you an idea. This is the previous financial year. So it's April 25 to March 26. Just to give you a sense of per month, how many new files were created on ECM, how many existing files in ECM were opened, how many existing files on ECM were edited, how many documents were retrieved and were downloaded from the ECM system, how many documents were deleted. That is, they reached their destruction limit, their retention period expired, etc. And then the last column is just to give you a sense of the total numbers per month. So for the year, we had almost 1 million files that were either created, opened, edited, or retrieved, deleted within the ECM system. So what does this tell us? Well, as I said, we have the numbers there. So we have over 400,000 new records were uploaded to ECM by staff. Over 360,000 documents were edited, as I said, and over 35,000 folders were accessed on ECM, which for us, for me, as being the director responsible for records management, indicates that we are certainly using ECM. Maybe not as much as we could. There's always room for improvement. I'll be the first one to say we could be doing more, but I'm certainly not disappointed or think that is a wasteful or fruitless expense. The numbers are telling me that certainly that ECM is being used and is being accessed. And as we move through the department and speak to the different units, we see that certainly the trend well into the new year is continuing. This is just April to June of this year. You can see that if you go down to the granular level, often we see that there are some spikes. Sometimes we find it is because a particular unit or a particular individual in a particular month had a project or was doing some backfiling, and so we see some spikes like we saw in February May of this year, where you can see there's a huge spike. Again, as the numbers are high, so the spike is we identified a particular user, single user, who was capturing some data, which was linked to our ECM transformation project. So again, it tells me that transformation project is encouraging more users and getting us to put more of our files on ECM. There's strong collaboration that we can pick up from that. As you see, we have over 160,000 documents that were created during the quarter, and there was quite a lot of edits done, and our business processes being supported through those activities. If we look at the average login users per month, we're looking at 399. Okay, that's maybe small compared to the total number of staff in the department, but not everybody necessarily works on a daily basis with records. There may be a person within a unit that is primarily responsible for the records and would be ensuring that things are uploaded to ECM. But what we do by showing you this data, show you that we are tracking it and we are ensuring that we regularly on a monthly basis see an increase, and using the data try and ensure that we identify any issues there may be, and where we see that there's a drop, we try and identify why. We also try and identify by geographically where there may be some issues that we can then address. And so as I said, director responsible for records management in the department, I'm happy to report that ECM is being used, the numbers to show that, and we are continually working with our various units to ensure that we continue to show an increase in usage, and not just an increase in usage, but an increase in the number of things that ECM can be used for. What I have not done in this presentation is looked at some of the future things we plan, because that just, I felt, was a little outside of the scope of the presentation. But one of the things that we are looking and exploring is linking digital signatures project that is being rolled out by the Department of Sports and Culture to look at using digital signatures where possible, so we can further reduce the number of physical documents. Because in terms of the Electronic Transmissions Act, there are a large number of documents that are now accepted if they have a verifiable and authenticated digital signature. So once we were able to introduce that, then I'm sure we will see an even bigger increase in the number of users on our ECM system. Thank you very much, Chair.
No, thank you very much, Mr. Gavin Miller. Thank you for the comprehensive presentation. We just received a crash course in electronic content management utilization, so we feel empowered. I think some of us can apply now for the job there in your directorate. So well done, and thank you very much. It was quite a mouthful. I'm going to ask members to, if they have any questions on this very comprehensive presentation, I will allow for questions now. Members, over to you. Going once. Going twice. I see no hands. I see no hands. So thank you very much for the presentation, Mr. Miller. We are thankful. Like I said, it was really informative, very encouraging what your director is doing when it comes to record management. but I'm going to ask the Minister to do some concluding remarks. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairperson. Now from my side, I do want to show appreciation to the officials that we've got. I mean, Gavin is in his last few weeks with us, and he has had a stellar career as a public servant. But it's not just him in that directorate, it's the broader department. So just to Gavin, I'm saying thanks to you, but to the broader team, thank you so much for what you have done and for always ensuring that we stay on top of it in the department. Chair, thank you for your oversight. I'm handing back to you. You can release us if you want to. But yeah, thank you for calling us in for this.
Thank you, Minister, and well done to Mr. Miller. All of the best for you, your future endeavors. Minister and the department, you are excused from this meeting. Then we will then have a briefing from the Auditor General. Thank you, Minister. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Keep well.
Please close the meeting for us, and then we will go ahead with the presentation from the AG. So this will be a closed meeting, members.